Hello, everyone. Today, I don't want to talk about old age as a problem. I want to talk about old age as a phase of wisdom, dignity, and inner growth. Most of us spend our youth worrying about success, money, and recognition. But very few of us prepare for the most important exam of life: how to live peacefully when strength reduces, roles change, and silence becomes louder. Let me start with a small story. There was an old man who spent 40 years repairing clocks. After retirement, his children told him, "Papa, now rest, don't work anymore." For the first few months, he enjoyed it. But slowly, he started feeling useless. One day, he told his son, "When I fixed clocks, I felt I was fixing time itself. Now time is fixing me." Old age becomes painful not because the body weakens, but because purpose weakens. So, the first lesson of caring for yourself in old age is: old age becomes difficult not when the body slows down, but when life starts feeling meaningless. Many people assume that once retirement arrives, their usefulness expires. But purpose has nothing to do with salary slips or office titles. Purpose is about waking up with a reason to smile. I once met a retired school teacher who said something very touching. He said, "When I stopped going to school, I felt like the sun had stopped rising for me." For months he felt lost, until one day a neighbor asked him to teach her child. That single request brought light back into his life. He started teaching a few children in his lane, and slowly his days filled with laughter, questions, and gratitude. His health improved, his mood changed, and his eyes sparkled again. Purpose is oxygen for the soul. In old age, when children are busy and friends slowly disappear, purpose becomes the anchor that keeps us emotionally stable. You may no longer run companies, but you can run conversations that heal. You may no longer manage teams, but you can manage wisdom and pass it on. Society does not suffer because old people exist. Society suffers because it does not know how to use their experience. There was an elderly man who volunteered at a hospital just to guide visitors. He said, "I can't cure patients, but I can reduce confusion." That is purpose. Purpose does not need strength, it needs intention. When elders feel useful, they feel respected. When they feel respected, their self-worth remains intact. Caring for yourself in old age means asking yourself one important question every morning: who needs me today? It could be a grandchild who needs stories, a neighbor who needs listening, or a community that needs guidance. Even watering plants daily can create responsibility and meaning. Many studies show that elders with purpose live longer and healthier lives. But beyond science, purpose gives dignity. It reminds us that life did not stop giving when youth left. Instead, life changed its method of giving. Old age is not about fading away quietly, it is about glowing softly. When you serve without pressure, contribute without expectation, and give without fear of being ignored, life becomes peaceful. Purpose turns loneliness into service and boredom into blessing. Never underestimate how much value you still hold. As long as you breathe, your life has meaning. And when life has meaning, age becomes just a number, not a burden. In youth, we treat our body like a rented car. We drive fast, ignore warning lights, and assume repairs will happen automatically. In old age, we realize the truth. This body is the only vehicle we have for the rest of our journey. Caring for your body in old age is not about fighting aging, it is about cooperating with it. I remember an elderly aunt who walked every morning very slowly, holding a stick. Someone once asked her, "Why don't you rest at home?" She smiled and said, "If I stop walking, one day my legs will forget me." That wisdom is powerful. Movement keeps the body alive. Not intense workouts, not competition, but consistency. Old age requires a gentle relationship with the body. This is the time to listen carefully. When the body asks for rest, give rest. When it asks for movement, move gently. Eating becomes medicine now. Overeating, irregular meals, and ignoring hydration slowly weaken the system. Many elders complain about illness but refuse small lifestyle changes. Caring for the body is not complicated, it is disciplined simplicity. Sleep becomes sacred in old age. Late nights disturb not just energy but emotions. A well rested elder is calmer, more patient, and mentally clearer. Respecting routine brings stability. Waking up at the same time, eating on time, walking daily, these simple habits act like silent healers. One elderly man shared that after retirement he started neglecting himself because no one depended on him. His health deteriorated until his doctor said, "You don't need treatment, you need self respect." That sentence changed his life. He began caring for his body as a responsibility, not a burden. Caring for the body also means accepting limitations. Comparing your present strength with your youth only creates frustration. Acceptance brings peace. When you accept that slower steps are natural, you walk happier. When you accept rest without guilt, healing happens faster. Your body has carried you through decades of struggles, celebrations, and sacrifices. Old age is the time to thank it, not punish it. Treat it kindly, speak to it gently, and nourish it patiently. When the body feels respected, it cooperates beautifully. Aging then becomes graceful, not painful. The goal is not to look young, but to feel balanced. A cared for body supports a peaceful mind, and together they create a dignified old age. Many people grow old physically but remain emotionally stuck in the past. Old age becomes heavy when the mind keeps carrying unresolved pain, regret, anger, and comparison. Emotional baggage weighs more than physical illness. Caring for your mind is one of the most important acts of self love in old age. I once met an elderly man who could not sleep peacefully. When asked why, he said, "My body is tired, but my mind keeps fighting old battles." He was still angry about betrayals from 30 years ago. Forgiveness does not change the past, but it frees the future. Letting go is not forgetting, it is choosing peace over pride. Old age gives us a rare gift: perspective. We can finally see that many things we stressed about did not matter. Careers ended, arguments faded, people changed. Holding on to emotional wounds only poisons the present moment. Peace begins when you say enough. I choose calm. Comparison is another silent destroyer of mental health. Comparing children, lifestyles, health, or financial situations only multiplies dissatisfaction. Every life has a different syllabus. Your journey was unique, and it deserves respect. Gratitude shifts focus from what is missing to what remains. Regret is also common in old age. I should have done more. I should have chosen differently. But regret assumes you had today's wisdom back then. You didn't. You did the best you could with what you knew. Self compassion is healing. Mental care also involves choosing what you consume: conversations, news, and negativity. Constant exposure to complaints and fear based news increases anxiety. Surround yourself with positive discussions, spiritual reading, and light-hearted humor. An elderly woman once said, "I stopped watching depressing news and my blood pressure improved." The mind affects the body deeply. Calm thoughts create calm chemistry. Old age is the perfect time to declutter the mind. Release grudges, lower expectations, forgive yourself and forgive others. Emotional freedom is the greatest luxury. When the mind is light, even a simple day feels joyful. Caring for your mind is not selfish. It allows you to age with grace, kindness, and wisdom. A peaceful elder becomes a blessing to everyone around them. When emotional baggage is dropped, the soul finally breathes freely. One of the biggest pains in old age comes from unmet expectations, especially from children and family. Elders often feel ignored, forgotten, or unappreciated. But expectations are silent contracts others never signed. Caring for relationships in old age means shifting from demand to understanding. I met a father who complained daily that his son never visited. Over time, bitterness grew. One day, he stopped expecting visits and started blessing his son instead. When the son eventually came, the meeting was filled with warmth, not complaint. Expectations block love, acceptance allows it to flow. Children today live in a fast, competitive world. Their absence is not rejection, it is survival pressure. When elders understand this, relationships soften. Love does not reduce when expectations disappear, it actually becomes purer. Caring for relationships means offering advice only when asked. Unsolicited guidance often creates distance. Silence, when respectful, builds closeness. Listening becomes more powerful than speaking. Friendships also matter deeply in old age. Maintaining social connections protects mental health. Sharing tea, laughter, and memories keeps loneliness away. Isolation damages emotional well being faster than illness. An elderly couple said their secret to happiness was simple: we stopped correcting each other. Acceptance creates harmony. Old age is not the time to win arguments, it is the time to preserve peace. Relationships flourish when gratitude replaces entitlement. Appreciate calls, visits, and small gestures. Bless rather than complain. Love freely without accounting. Caring for relationships also means setting healthy boundaries. Emotional dependence creates pressure on others, and N for yourself. Independence with connection is balance. When relationships are nurtured with patience and understanding, old age becomes socially rich. You may have fewer people around, but the bonds become deeper. Relationships then become a source of comfort, not conflict. Love grows when expectations rest. As physical strength decreases, inner strength becomes essential. Spiritual health is not about rituals alone, it is about connection, meaning, and peace. Old age naturally draws us inward. This is not withdrawal from life, but deeper engagement with its essence. I met a grandmother who prayed daily, not asking for anything. When asked why, she said, I already received enough. Gratitude is the highest form of spirituality. It brings contentment. Spiritual practices like prayer, meditation, or silent reflection stabilize emotions. They create routine and inner companionship. When the world feels distant, spirituality provides closeness. Fear of death often arises in old age. Spirituality transforms fear into acceptance. It reminds us that life is a journey, not possession. When faith grows, fear dissolves. Service is also spiritual. Helping without expectation connects us to something larger than ourselves. Even small acts create meaning. Spiritual health also teaches detachment, enjoying relationships without clinging, possessions without obsession. This brings lightness. Old age is the time to make peace with life. Spirituality helps us forgive, accept, and surrender gracefully. It is not escape, it is understanding. When spirituality is nurtured, old age becomes calm, reflective, and meaningful. The soul feels at home even as the body slows. Peace becomes natural, not forced. Change is inevitable, but resistance creates suffering. Old age brings changes in health, roles, appearance, and independence. Accepting change gracefully is the final lesson of caring for yourself. A river does not fight when it slows near the ocean. It trusts the journey. Old age is that phase, nearing completeness. Accepting wrinkles as life signatures reduces insecurity. Accepting slower pace reduces frustration. Acceptance does not mean giving up, it means flowing wisely. An elderly man said, when I stopped trying to be young, I started enjoying being old. Comparison steals joy. Acceptance restores it. Change also includes accepting help. Independence is valuable, but refusing support creates exhaustion. Receiving help with gratitude strengthens relationships. Old age teaches simplicity. Fewer needs, fewer desires, fewer worries. Accepting this shift brings peace. Graceful acceptance allows you to focus on what remains, not what is lost. Wisdom, memories, relationships, and inner peace remain. When change is accepted, old age becomes gentle. Life feels complete, not incomplete. Acceptance transforms aging into art.